Hello, boys and girls. Greg from the Scary Spirits podcast here to make you another cocktail. This week's cocktail is the Frankenstein Cocktail. And as always, is the featured cocktail in today's episode. We're going to start by rimming a glass with black sugar and whatnot. Next, we're going to fill it with ice. Then we're going to add vodka. 1 1/2 ounces. Next, sour apple pucker to make it green. 1 ounce. It's not really a lot of green. And then I guess we're going to top with Sprite. I'm using Sprite Zero to make it healthy. There you go. Then it says you can add a dash or two of green food coloring to make it even more green, which I will gladly do. Next, we're going to stir. Woo! Look how green, boys and girls. And I used neon green food coloring too. And then we enjoy. Pretty good. Tastes a lot like Sprite. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy the podcast. See ya.
We've all been there. You wake up one day and think, I could use a new improved body. But let this week's episode of the Scary Spirits podcast, The Revenge of Frankenstein, be a cautionary tale for you. Sure, you could get a younger, fitter, more attractive body, but what's the price? And that, my friends, is a question you must ask the doctor promising you all these great things. Get the details. Work out the conditions and time frame. You won't regret it. Remember, not everyone has your best interests at heart, but they almost always have theirs at the forefront. I guess just be careful what you wish for, and stay away from anyone named Frankenstein, and anyone with any sort of combination of that name. Cheers!
Welcome to the Scary Spirits podcast. Please be advised that the presenters may use adult language and or discuss adult situations. This podcast is not intended for younger listeners or those that may be easily offended. So, if you're ready, let's go.
Hello, boys and girls. I'm Greg.
Hi, everyone. I'm Karen.
And welcome to the Scary Spirits podcast, the podcast that combines the two very different but highly compatible worlds of scary films and alcoholic spirits.
Do you really still have to look at that?
Yes, I do.
What could possibly go wrong?
Indeed. Do I have to? No, but I do. It's my crutch. How are you, Karen?
I'm doing great. How are you, Greg?
I am fantastic, Karen. Thank you for
Ooh.
asking.
That sounds like a man that had 2 days worth of thirsty work in under 90-degree weather. Am I right?
You are correct, Karen.
There's a long pause there, Greg.
It's like fall.
I know, it's awesome, isn't it?
I'm starting to get itchy. Starting to get the itch.
He doesn't have allergies, people. He just wants to start building Halloween props.
I'm trying to not think about it. Karen, whose film was it this week?
This is not a film that's going to stop the itch, Greg. This film was your choice.
Oh, it was, wasn't it? Film I have chosen is from 1958. It's a Hammer production starring Peter Cushing. Should be Sir Peter Cushing, called The Revenge of Frankenstein.
Why did you choose this one?
Because it's a Hammer film, and I'm marking them off my list, Karen. Just checking it off. One less we have to do.
Do you have a drink to go with it?
I do. It's called the Frankenstein Cocktail, Karen.
Can't believe we haven't had this one before.
I know. I am shocked as well.
How do you make such a drink?
Well, we're going to need 1.5 ounces of vodka, 1 ounce sour apple pucker, 4 ounces of Sprite, 2 to 3 drops of food coloring, optional, 1/4 cup black standing sugar sprinkles, and 2 to 3 tablespoons of corn syrup. So we're going to rim the glass, Karen. And to rim the glass, according to the directions, you add a shallow layer of standing sugar sprinkles to one saucer and 2 to 3 tablespoons corn syrup to another saucer. Dip the rim of the glass into the corn syrup lightly. Then dip into the sprinkles until you get a nice layer on the glass. If the sprinkles try to run down the glass, you may have a bit too much corn syrup.
Yeah, corn syrup can get messy. You got to put just a small amount.
Don't use corn syrup. You can rinse
Just
the
lick
glass.
it like Greg. Just lick it and put the sprinkles on.
You can rinse the glass and try again, or just use a paper towel to push the sprinkles back into place. Whatever. I do what I always do, Karen. I used simple syrup. I did not have black standing sugar sprinkles, but I had chocolate sprinkles and I had activated charcoal, and there's nothing more black than that, Karen.
Well, there you go.
So that is what I rimmed my glass with. What did you rim your glass with, Karen?
I didn't rim my glass.
Oh, okay.
I'm a dud today.
Bun sponge.
Bun sponge.
Then we're going to fill our glass with ice. We're going to pour 1.5 ounces of vodka, 1 ounce sour apple pucker, and 4 ounces of Sprite. I did not measure my Sprite. I just topped off my glass.
You just went with your heart.
Yeah.
Can't measure that shit.
Then we give the drink a stir and we enjoy it. It doesn't say anything about adding the food coloring, but I did add a few drops of food coloring to mine. Neon green food coloring, Karen, so mine's extra special. I should have turned on a black light to see it glow.
You know, you can watch Greg make every drink on our YouTube channel.
Did you put green food coloring in your Frankenstein cocktail, Karen?
No, Greg. I'm a fun sponge.
So you got no rim and you got no food coloring.
No, but I have a tasty drink.
It is tasty.
I think it should be called the poison apple, though.
But we'll get to all that, Karen. And
Very fall-like. It fits the weather.
I'll bet if we look up poison apple cocktail, it might find one very similar.
Don't ruin it. Don't ruin it.
Karen, should we give our friends and listeners time to make their own Frankenstein cocktail?
We definitely should.
Hold on. And we're back.
Yes, we are.
Karen, might you have a brief synopsis of this film from way back in 1958, way before either of us were ever thought of? Well, at least me.
Okay. Rude. I don't like your tone. That was rude.
It was. I'm sorry.
No, you're not. I have a very short synopsis.
Oh, I do as well. So
Okay.
I bet we're a match. Go on. Tell us all a very short story.
Baron Frankenstein joins forces with a small town German doctor in his latest and most terrifying experiment.
Thank you, Karen. We are a match. It just leaves you wanting more, doesn't it?
Well,
That's a film
it's
I want to
true.
see. Never really said they were in Germany, but I guess you can deduce.
They talk about it a little bit,
But
but
someone does mention 10 marks at one point. So, all right, Karen, tell us everything you really enjoyed or were pleasantly surprised by in this film from a Hammer production from 1958, starring Peter Cushing.
well, I have to say, this ending has sequel potential. Like, I love sequel potential. I don't spoil it for anyone, but I was like, yes, this is the classic sequel potential I love.
I was a little disappointed.
I just thought it was kind of funny. Like, there you go. You know, gets away with it and continues. I actually like this film. I like the writing a lot. The writing's pretty clever. There's a lot of funny little one-liners in there that made me laugh a lot. It's not a comedy. I don't mean it that way. It's just, it's clever dialogue between people. I like that a lot. I think Peter Cushing's really good in this one. I think the sets, of course, are good. The clothes, of course, are good. I think that the actor who took over after the brain was transferred was really good. I thought he did a nice job of kind of incorporating who he was previously and still acting through the new character. I'm not sure. It was funny because I don't know if I liked this or didn't like this, but they definitely ditched the monster Frankenstein and it went more Rocky Horror Picture Show. Like, let me show you what's in the lab. And it's this kind of handsome dude in there. Frankenstein's getting better, the doctor, at building his stitched together people, I guess. I mean, it was a big departure though. Definitely more modern. So I don't know. It worked, but it kind of takes some of the horror out of it. So I don't know. That's a plus and minus for me. That's all I have. What do you got?
Karen, the first thing I wrote down is all the things. It has all the
All the
things,
things.
all the Hammer things. We got wonderful sets. We have great costumes, lovely ball gowns and whatnot. And we don't have any really Hammer blood, though.
No, there's not really any blood in it.
No, this isn't gory at all. Going to what you said, it's, that monster not being hideous takes a little bit, and not being stupid takes a little bit of the horror out of it. But it's fine. I did write good acting. I agree. The Carl character, who in his new body, apparently played by Michael Gwynn, was very good. He reminded me of someone, which I will get to when we go through it scene by scene. And you talked about the writing. The person who wrote this was also the same writer who did The Curse of Frankenstein, which was the first Hammer Frankenstein film starring Peter Cushing and Sir Christopher Lee as the monster.
I like the writing. Like I said, it's clever, but there's also like social, it seems to have social commentary in it. It seems to have the Peter Cushing, the doctor's character, you can just see he's kind of psychotic. He's definitely a narcissist, if nothing else. But it's really well done.
Apparently, when they approached the writer to write this sequel, Jimmy Sangster, who was the writer, apparently responded, "I killed Frankenstein in the first film." And the director or whatever told him, "Well, you have 6 weeks. You'll think of something." So there you go. And apparently he did. Anything else you really enjoyed?
No, I think that's it.
All right, Karen, tell us everything, if anything, that you did not enjoy. Anything you were disappointed in? Anything at all? I can't imagine.
Well, like I said, I'm not sure I like the handsome Frankenstein monster. I don't know. It's different, and I accept that. But we talked about, there's a little lot less horror in it when it's a normal human being. He does deteriorate, so there is some of that, but there's no real gore in it at all. It's horrific, and this is not, I should have mentioned this too. We say there it's not very gory, but there is one point where they're basically sucking the brain out of a guy while he's still alive. And if you think about that, that is pretty, it gave me the ick, like, ew, just thinking about it. And that should have been in something that I liked because there's very little gore in it. Even the killings are pretty tame, which they kind of tend to be sometimes in these movies. But the girl isn't really needed in this movie. Is she a hammer glamour girl?
I'm sure she is, Karen. I did not look her up. You caught me off guard.
She just seemed like, oh, we
I'm
need a girl.
ashamed.
Let's just write some stuff in here. Didn't really need her. She had nothing to do.
She's a handsome looking woman, though.
Well, I'm not saying she's not. I just,
She's on page 80 in the Hammer Glamour book, Karen, for those of us
she looked
playing
familiar.
along at home. Yeah,
Has
I'm
she been in
sure.
anything else we've seen?
No, she has not. Well, at least
No.
not a Hammer film.
Okay, this was her
But
only Hammer film?
this was her only Hammer film. But I guarantee you, we have seen her before.
I'm
No, I have.
surprised she's in the Hammer Glamour book because she didn't really have a sexy role.
No. Oh, no, I don't. We have not done a film with her in it, but I have seen two other films that she is in.
Okay.
She was in a couple James Bond films, Dr. No and From Russia with Love. So that must be where I recognize her from.
Okay.
Yeah, she's only got a one page write up, but she does have another full page photo. Very tame.
The only other sort of criticism I have, you have to make a lot of leaps of faith in this movie. Oh, no one will, he does nothing to disguise himself, to look different when he assumes a different identity. He looks exactly the same,
Well,
Okay,
he's a different. He moved to a different area.
I guess back in the day, I guess you could do that. I can't think of anything else. It's a little slow, like not a lot happens. Kind of the same stuff over and over. But I didn't not enjoy watching it. It's just, and the only thing that kind of frustrated me about the whole thing, this whole thing goes to shit because Dr. Frankenstein does not tell this man that he's helping, in quotation marks, what he's actually going to do with him afterwards. There was no communication there. And that's what makes everything go bad. So it seems like he should have had to sign a waiver or something that he was saying, yeah, I'll let you do this. Here's what we're going to do afterwards. So, and I will tell you, the colored liquid in the laboratory always gets me. But other than that, it was fine.
There are lots of them, lots of flasks and beakers and whatnot in this, with lots of smoke. And do not see a Bunsen burner, but at least lit.
There's, it's exactly what you expect it to be. So I don't feel like criticizing it very much because it was exactly what I expected it to be. The writing was better than I expected it to be. I enjoyed the twist at the end. I can see why you 100% wouldn't, but I thought it was, it's just like, ooh, that's right up my alley. Because it's so silly and that's how those things go. But yeah, it's a Hammer film. I think it's one of the better ones, but that's just me. Maybe it's because we haven't seen one in a while.
Didn't I just do one? I feel like I'm doing them every other week now.
Maybe, but it's just not one like this. I don't know. What about you? Did you not like anything?
Again, the horror is kind of lost in it.
It's like a
But
melodrama. Like it's
yeah, I
like a
wasn't mad. I
soap
mean,
opera.
as a film, it's a really good film.
Yeah.
It's really good, I think. And you talked about the horror. When did you say it was?
Operating on the
Yeah,
person
on
who's
the person
alive.
who's alive. And I think that I wrote down the the ward is almost the most horrific thing in the
Yeah.
picture.
Well, yeah, he's harvesting body parts from
Well,
people.
no, but no, that's not where I was going, Karen. I was
Well, there's
going the poor and the destitute and the sickly and
that's the
he's
social
taking care
commentary.
of them in their ward.
Yes, and you see these very wealthy people,
And you
and
see
you
them
see
all
that
turn
they
on him later, but go on.
well, they figure out what he was doing.
Only because he had to. I mean, he was saving most of them, Karen. Just saying. Although he did take the arm of the guy who like had he
Good
thought had
fingers because he was picked
special. He was a pickpocket. He's special sensories in his fingers.
fingers.
And that's all I wrote too. I agree that Margaret, got to have a reason, like the creature is like
The creature always has a
smitten.
love
Yes,
thing,
yes.
but they didn't and I still don't understand why they let her in there in the first place. It was just weird, but whatever.
It probably would have been well, it probably would have been better if like it was more like a love triangle thing and maybe she was a love interest between both of them at some point, but I feel like that's been done as well. So
That's usually how it is
yeah. Yeah.
with these stories. So
I really don't have anything really bad to say about it, except that it's
you have to admit it doesn't really move much. It's the same stuff over and over.
no, but I wasn't mad watching it. I mean,
That's
it's
true. I
an hour
wasn't
and a
either.
half.
It's
I was
slow.
I was shocked when I said, "Oh my God, it's an hour and a half." I thought it was a lot shorter than that when I was going to watch it, but I watched it and it was fine.
I agree.
Anything else, Karen? You did
Nope.
not enjoy? All right. What kind of cocktail rating you want to give this film?
I think it's a strong three. It's one of our upper threes. I don't think it's a two, but it's one of our best threes that we would have.
It's a really good three. If we're giving it a three, it's a really good three.
I would give it like a 2.5 because I don't think it's a two. It's just not, but it's pretty good. You're the one who always throws out there, it's not a horror film. This
I know,
isn't,
but yes, it is because I mean, we didn't see all the laboratory and the lightning and blah blah blah.
I know,
He
I
was
missed the
he was
lightning,
generating electricity, so he was doing all that with static electricity. I got
but
all
that's the
that shit.
moment. Yeah, I know, but
But it's not the same as like being in a medieval castle and waiting for the lightning. So you, what?
zzz, yes, it's not when it goes up in the air and then
Yeah,
comes down. It's
yeah, the
a lot
Jacob's
less drama.
ladder and the Tesla coil and all that shit. Yeah, it's fine. All right, a strong three cocktails. It's really good. That's all I'm gonna say. It's a really good film. Period.
And
The
I don't
end.
think you have to see the first one either. I mean, it helps a little, but
I don't know.
most people know the story, so they can kind of guess what happened.
I'm sure
It stands on its own, is what I'm trying to say.
it does, but I think the maybe if you watch them both, the difference between the two might add more to this. I don't know. Or the first
Maybe.
one, whichever. All right, three cocktails. Would you like to hear a review from the time, Karen?
Absolutely. You have one from back then?
I do, Karen.
Ah, look at you.
Well, first I have to tell you, this has a 6.7 out of 10 on IMDb, an 87% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes. What do you think Google users think?
87. 92.
95, Karen.
Ah,
95%.
wow.
Yeah, I know. This is a good film. The review I have is from Motion Picture Daily, which apparently was a daily newspaper.
Motion picture thing.
Yeah. And the review I have is dated June 18th, 1958, which this was released June 1st in the United States. And I have not read this prior, so here we go. Those specialists in horror from England, the group known as Hammer Films, have made a sequel to The Curse of Frankenstein, which was one of the surprise box office hits last year. The Revenge of Frankenstein is a much better example of its genre than the first and looks certain to bring comparative grosses. I guess that means money. In the interim, these tireless purveyors of the horrific made Horror of Dracula, which is also currently making a commercial name for itself. So they just mentioned Horror of Dracula. So Revenge of Frankenstein was filmed 3 days after the Horror of Dracula on the same sets.
Really?
Yes, and we'll get to that later.
Hmm.
The Curse of Frankenstein ended with the famous Baron in jail, and that's where this follow-up story begins. Just as he is about to go to the guillotine, two associates rescue him and decapitate and bury a priest in his stead, which we didn't see.
No, but I thought that was bold.
Then Frankenstein sets up new headquarters in another country and merrily begins the business of creating a human being in his secluded laboratory again. Only this time the Baron doesn't make a monster, but acquires a perfect, albeit very dead, physique in which he transplants a living brain.
You think that's where Rocky Horror got it?
Probably.
You know?
Well, duh. And he makes certain he doesn't repeat the mistake of his previous experiment. He selects the brain of a normal man and not a degenerate. All goes well, and the operation is a success, but alas, fate intervenes. The creation, quote unquote, gets in a fight, has his new brain damaged, and turns into a ferocious cannibalistic monster again. I didn't really get that part, but
What? He
I
does.
didn't, yeah, I know that happens, but I
Oh,
didn't think it was
cannibalistic.
because of the fight.
Yeah, because he got his brain smashed.
All right.
Because they say like 5 times, he'll be fine as long as his brain is given
All
time to
right. All
recover.
right. All right. At the end, the monster is killed, but Frankenstein is not. Presumably, he will soon reappear in a third Hammer film. If he does, and the picture is as good as this one, it will be most welcome. To the people who like such films, that is. For The Revenge of Frankenstein is a horror picture turned out with creative skill and imagination. The most notable contribution the Hammers have made to the genre is their stunning use of color for frightening effects. Blood dripping from a dismembered arm looks 13 times as gory in Technicolor, and there is nothing so chilling as the sight of a green light thrown over a corpse. I didn't see blood dripping from anything. The Hammers have demolished once and for all the theory that horror films should always be in black and white. In the role of Frankenstein, Peter Cushing once again puts his austere and forbidding visage to effective use, and his acting associates are all up to par. They include Michael Gwynn as the monster, Francis Matthews as the Baron's medical assistant, and Eunice Gayson as the inevitable female nurse who gets in the good doctor's way. Eunice Gayson. The Hammer production crew includes, as before, producer Anthony Hines, director Terrence Fisher, and writer Jimmy Sangster. Michael Carreras was executive producer. Horror never had it so good as when these boys operate. Wow, that's pretty high praise. Running time 90 minutes, adult classification. Release in July. And this is written by Richard Gertner. I think he liked it.
I believe he did.
Yeah, he did. All right, Karen, before we get into it scene by scene, tell us, what film have you chosen for us next week?
I have chosen the film Rebecca from 1940.
Any reason you chose that film, Karen?
Greg, we're celebrating Alfred Hitchcock's birthday because this podcast comes out on his birthday, if you're listening in order, August 13th.
How old would Mr. Hitchcock be now, Karen? Do you know?
I do not know.
126, according to my calculator.
I'll trust your calculator.
Do we have a cocktail to go with it?
Do. It's called the Mrs. Danvers cocktail.
Mrs. Danvers?
Danvers.
Danvers. All right.
It's from the recipe blog, rachelpounds.com. Not sure why she put that out there, but that's where this
She
comes from.
pounds, apparently. She pounds.
You're going to need 2 cups of milk, 2 Earl Grey tea bags, 5 teaspoons of honey, and 1.5 ounces of brandy. The liqueur that cures everything. Heat the
Sounds
milk with
very medicinal.
Yes, heat the milk with the Earl Grey tea bags until it's hot but not boiling. Remove the tea bags and stir in the honey until it's dissolved. Add the brandy to the mixture. Serve warm. I hope the weather stays this way.
I can't wait for this cocktail, Karen. I'm just saying.
The Mrs. Danvers.
All right. I do look forward to that, Karen. Earl Grey is not my favorite, but it's fine.
Sure, you could use any tea.
I
Maybe
like
just
I prefer Lady Grey to Earl Grey. So, well, I don't know. Maybe Mrs. Danfer likes Earl Grey tea.
Danver.
Danver. I don't know. I don't know. I haven't seen the film, Karen. I have no idea who the characters are. I assume it's named after a character.
It is.
All right. Awesome. Are you ready to get into the Revenge of Frankenstein scene by scene?
I am. Where did you watch it?
Amazon Prime, Karen, Amazon Prime.
Really? You didn't go to archive.org?
Mm-mm.
I did.
Well, good for you. You saved a few bucks.
I did. But I don't know what the warnings are. So tell us all. What are the warnings?
Well, Revenge of Frankenstein from 1958. It's not rated, really. Originally, it was rated X in the UK.
Really?
It was. Well,
For what?
that's because that's what they rated all these films. They were all rated X. Every film we've done was rated X. Every Hammer film. So, in the UK. Amazon gives it a rating of 18 plus with warnings of violence, alcohol use, and smoking.
Who smoked?
I don't know. Now that you,
Oh, maybe I think there was someone in the ward smoking because then he had to listen to his lungs. Remember, he was
probably yes,
Yeah.
yes, he was, and he was not shocked.
Yes.
Yes. Film starts and we have credits. We see a guillotine and we hear a bell tolling. A bell tolling. Of course, I wrote Terrence Fisher because he directed it.
Okay. So I did just a quick thing on Terrence Fisher because,
Oh, awesome!
he's important. He's important to
I
us.
love all his films.
It's very short, but I just thought everyone out there should know a little bit about him. He was
Yes, they
born
should.
February 23rd in 1904, and he was a British film director best known for his work for Hammer Films. He was first to bring Gothic horror alive in full color, and the sexual overtones and explicit horror in his films, while mild by modern standards, were unprecedented in his day. His first major Gothic horror film was The Curse of Frankenstein in 1957, which launched Hammer's association with the genre and made British actors Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee leading horror stars of the era. He went on to film several adaptations of classic horror subjects, including Dracula, The Mummy, and The Curse of the Werewolf. Given their subject matter and lurid approach, Fisher's films, though commercially successful, were largely dismissed by critics during his career. It is only in recent years that Fisher has become recognized in his own right. His most famous films are characterized by a blend of fairy tale, myth, and supernatural alongside themes of sexuality, morality, and the charm of evil. No wonder you like them.
Oh yeah, I like them. And I would also say it doesn't hurt that he had good actors to work with as well. Specifically Sir Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing and So I think
I don't know who discovered them.
especially I think Peter Cushing is like wildly underrated personally. He's fantastic. And I even say that I think in here at one point. But
Well, I think he makes everyone around, we've talked about it before. He makes everyone around him better. He just does. When he's not in the film, he just elevates it all. It's hard to explain. He brings something sophisticated to it, even though it's a horror genre. He's still sophisticated in his roles, no matter what they are.
then we have words to read, apparently, because I wrote, in the year 1860, Baron Frankenstein was condemned to death for the brutal murders committed by the monster he had created. The whole continent breathed a sigh of relief when the guillotine was called upon to end his life of infamy. Then we see Dr. Frankenstein being led to the gallows. Next thing I wrote is, how many times is this bell going to ring? Because I feel like it's
Is it
been more than
23 o'clock?
12. Yeah, I know. I was like, are they doing 24 for midnight? I don't know. Seemed like a lot. I didn't count. And then Priest says some words, and I believe he says something about Ave Maria.
I didn't notice.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yes, he does, Karen. And then guillotine comes down, but we see nothing. We just see the top of the guillotine coming down.
Well, we hear a scuffle, though.
I didn't hear a scuffle.
Oh, there's a scuffle. You hear a scuffle.
Maybe he was resisting being put in the guillotine.
Maybe, but you
know.
hear something.
Okay.
And there's no crowd, which is unusual. It's just usually they do.
It's not the French Revolution.
No, but there's usually witnesses. And you do see Carl do some eyeball acting with the executioner, who is wearing a mask. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. Executioners.
Should I go get my executioner's mask now and put it on, Karen?
No, that would freak me out. They wore masks primarily to conceal their identity and protect themselves from potential retribution from the families of those they executed, which is fair. But they also wore the masks with a symbolic purpose, dehumanizing the executioner and reinforcing their role as an instrument of the state's justice. While the image of the masked executioner is prevalent in popular culture, it's important to note that it wasn't a universal practice throughout history or across all cultures. Some executioners did not wear masks or wore them only in specific situations where anonymity was deemed necessary. For example, masks were sometimes used when executing politically sensitive or popular individuals. So I don't know if they'd have to wear a mask if I was being executed. Maybe not. I wouldn't call myself politically sensitive or popular.
I would see myself not necessarily wearing a mask if I'm just pulling the rope on a guillotine. I'm just flicking a switch.
It's your job.
It is. But if I have a big fucking axe in my hand and I'm going to behead somebody manually with my own hands and an axe, I might want to wear a mask.
Yeah, because if you mess up, or firing
even
squad,
worse. Yes.
Like and they did when they beheaded people. Sometimes they employed someone with a dull axe on purpose, or an extra sharp one, depending on how much they wanted the person to suffer.
Look at you, Karen. I'm a little worried about how much you know about axe decapitations.
I like to watch things about the Tudors. So.
Yes, on the BBC or the PBS station, Karen, all about Henry and his wives and whatnot.
Yeah, I like to read about it too. You've just listened to half of this week's episode. Are you loving it? If so, can you do us a big favor and leave a review wherever you listen? Reviews help us grow the podcast. We just want to say thanks so much for your support. Now let's get back to the good stuff.
All right. So then we cut to a pub.
There's useful knowledge in it, as you can see.
Yes. Cut to a pub as we do. Guys are drinking wine. And I wrote, well, there's Michael Ripper. But apparently in this film, his name is Kurt. But he's in like every Hammer film we do. Michael Ripper. So, and I wrote the other guy who he's with reminds me of Tony Iommi. For those of you who don't know, boys and girls, that's the guitar player in Black Sabbath. He's got that mustache and looks like Tony Iommi. But anyway, apparently they've been offered money to dig up a body. 10 marks, 10
The one guy
marks.
has, and the other guy... This is what I'm talking about when I talk about the funny writing, because they're in the pub. One of them's a lot drunker than the other, but that's fine. The one who's trying to convince his friend to do this job with him, and they'd get 10 marks. Well, 5 marks each. And the one guy goes, would I suggest anything that might go wrong? The other guy goes, yeah, you would. Last time I got 6 months. It's just funny stuff like that is throughout the whole thing. What could possibly go wrong is
Indeed.
basically what he's saying. But they end up in the cemetery.
Yeah, end up in the cemetery, and I wrote, it's very familiar. As a matter of fact, Karen,
Yeah,
I
where
think
was
it's the
what?
same cemetery they dig Dracula up in The Horror of Dracula, which they just filmed 3 days prior.
Yeah.
So, same gravesite even.
Well, it's not a large cemetery
It
grave.
is not. They're digging up an unmarked grave, not very deep, I wrote.
Nope.
Not 6 feet, nowhere near it. And it says Baron Frankenstein on the coffin. It's carved into it. They pop the lid open and it's a priest. And they run away. Run away!
That freaks him out. Well, they both run away, but one comes back and is like, meh, still worth 10 marks, but the head's going to be a problem. Like, that's the kind of funny thing. But they freak out when they see it's the priest. So that's our clue right there,
And then Frankenstein arrives. He's there too at the graveyard.
which is awesome. They frame him in like these trees and they're like, well, that's not Frank. And he's almost like, he's not, but you can see him smoking a pipe going, nope, that ain't Frankenstein, is it? There you get to watch someone desecrating your grave.
And the man who I guess was going to get his 10 marks has a heart attack and dies and falls right into the grave. I wrote, how
Upon
convenient.
seeing Frankenstein, yes.
How convenient. And then we cut to, we have words to read, Karlsbruck. I don't know. I guess that's in Germany somewhere. Don't know. We're at the medical council, apparently, and they're not happy about Dr. Frankenstein. He's stealing all their patients, but they call him Dr. Stein because that's what they know him as, Dr. Stein.
Yes, Dr. Victor Stein. I said, oh, look, it's a bunch of old white guys in a room mad that people are taking what the money that's supposed to be theirs.
Yes.
That's what.
And they say he must join them or stop practicing medicine.
And then but one guy goes, well, what do we do if he refuses? Then they're like, well, shit, I don't know.
They decide to send 3 doctors, must be three, of course, from the council to go talk to him. And right here I wrote, I feel like I've seen this before. We have Dr. Stein seeing patients. And I think it's just because they probably used this same set and Peter Cushing seeing patients in some other film in this same room. I don't know, but I
wouldn't
had
doubt
like,
it.
damn, this looks very familiar to me. So then we see Dr. Stein seeing patients. An older woman asks him to come to a recital.
A music night or something. But
Yeah.
he does see rich patients.
And apparently mostly female, Karen.
Well, he's an eligible bachelor, which is what I think this whole scene is about.
I suppose. I wrote, apparently the women like seeing Dr. Stein.
But this woman is talking about her daughter. She can barely lift her head. She's so tired. So she gets her to undress down to her petticoats. And then Dr. Stein wants to use his, what's the old stethoscope? The old one with just the single ear.
Yes.
We talked about that before.
Uh-huh.
But then she says, no. The mother says, no, I want you to use your ear.
You never used this before. That's what
Right.
the patient says. No, put your ear to my bosom, doctor.
Yes. But he says he can't do much more for her. Apparently, she's been in there quite a bit, Greg.
Apparently.
And then the mother says, surely, it's again, good, right? But you're a man. And she says, there's a great deal you can do for her because when she gets married, she gets a large inheritance. I was like, wow, okay.
Wow, I missed that.
I said, it looks like there's at least 20 years difference between them, if not more, but whatever.
For sure. So then the men from the medical council arrive to see the Dr. Stein. He has them wait in the ward. And I wrote, people in the ward aren't happy with their medical service.
Well, if
They're
you,
all bitching and complaining until Dr. Stein walks in and everyone goes quiet.
yes, it does look like a lot of them are missing body parts. They're all wrapped up. There's a guy with a missing hand. There's a guy with a missing arm. There's a guy with a missing leg. There's,
I didn't notice.
oh, there.
So then we see a man with a tattoo and Dr. Stein wants to take his arm.
Says, you're just gonna have to lose this. The guy's like, why?
He's a pickpocket, I wrote.
And it has a nice tattoo on it. So stop there for a second.
It's okay.
Well, it's an identifying tattoo. It's not a
It
great
is.
one, but so the world's oldest continuously operating tattoo parlor is Razuk Tattoo in Jerusalem, established in 1300.
They
It's pretty
probably do the old
impressive.
hammering stuff.
They do have stamps, it says. In the United States, the first known professional tattoo parlor was opened by Martin Hildebrandt in New York City in 1870. He was a German immigrant, opened a shop in 1870 or 1872 on Oak Street in Manhattan. And then, if you're interested, Samuel O'Reilly is known for patenting the first electric tattoo machine in 1891, which revolutionized the industry. But apparently, this tattoo shop in Jerusalem is still operating. They're known for using traditional wooden stamps to transfer designs onto the skin.
Next thing I wrote is a smoker has problems with his chest. Shocking. I wrote.
Yes. Well, pretty much Dr. Stein says the same thing.
Yeah. Dr. Stein meets with the guys from the medical council. He refuses to join them and says good day, literally.
Yes. He
Good
says
day.
good day a couple times in here.
So then Dr. Stein takes the arm of the tattooed man. See Dr. Stein in his office, who we learn is Hans is there, and he recognizes Dr. Stein
So Hans
as
is
Frankenstein.
Frankenstein, or Victor Stein, has finished the operation with the arm, like you said. He's coming home to carve up his dinner, his chicken. And in the darkness in his house already is
Yes.
this guy sitting there in the dark.
Creeper.
Yeah. And he says he knows who he is.
But he says he is in search of knowledge and he wants to work under Dr. Stein. And right here, I wrote Peter Cushing is fantastic. I don't know why, but he's fantastic in this scene.
He keeps his
apparently.
cool no matter what comes up, he keeps his cool.
Yes.
And like he acts it well, but he's like, well, what if, so basically, if I don't do what you say, you're going to blackmail me. And they go back and forth and they establish, yes, basically. But this guy he's not going to turn him in. He wants to learn all the secrets.
Dr. Stein agrees to take Hans as his pupil, but he reminds him his name is Stein, not Frankenstein.
Yes. And then we'll start immediately. And they do. They immediately go to the lab in the basement.
Yeah, and Dr. Stein introduces Hans to Carl.
Okay, but wait. So they're walking down the stairs to the lab. It's an old wine cellar or whatever. And the Hans trips on the steps. And are we going to call him Frankenstein or Stein?
Well, he's
What are we gonna call
Stein
him?
here. I don't know.
Stein catches him and he says, "It would be a pity to lose you." And then he pauses and he goes, "So soon." I wonder if that was ad-libbed. I wonder if he did trip and they just added that in there, or if they had him. It was just funny.
Well, that's funny. Now that you say it.
But he's immediately like, okay, without any background check or anything, he's like going to let this guy in on all the secrets. And then
they have the tattooed arm. They say something about the sensitive finger because I have a note about it.
yeah, it's just laying on the table, the arm, because of the sensitive fingers, because he's a pickpocket.
And then Dr. Stein shows Hans his aquariums with eyes and a brain and hands and whatnot. And he throws a lot of blade switches and he lights fire in front of the aquarium with eyes. And the eyes follow the fire. Then he brings it to the aquarium with the hand and the hand recoils and turns all the switches off. So he just basically talks about how all these things are connected and whatnot. And then he talks of his revenge.
Okay, before we go much further, so Carl
Hence the title.
Yes. Carl is the assistant, and we do see Carl limp. It looks like he's paralyzed on his right side, just so you know. They also have a chimpanzee in the lab, Otto, which I was like, what? Why is that chimpanzee even there? But it comes into play later.
A
because
little bit. I mean,
a little, but they
you'd be
didn't.
paying attention.
True, but that's what's kind of cool about this movie. If you don't pay attention, you miss a lot of the subtlety of it. He says if the brain wasn't damaged in his first creature, he'd have been accepted all over the world and been famous. But because the brain was damaged, everybody was mad at him.
Yes, he talks of his revenge.
Yes, that's his revenge. He's gonna make a.
If only the brain had been normal. Then we see a body in a glass case, and I wrote lots of Froggy's Fog, and apparently he's the perfect specimen.
More Rocky Horror Picture Show, less
Yeah.
Frankenstein is what I
Yes.
have.
He created the body from other bodies. He just needs a brain.
Yeah, he's perfected it except for a few scars, which are barely noticeable.
And the brain must be a living one. And, oh, thank goodness he has a volunteer.
Well, and he says the ward had served him very well. That's what he says. But he does have a volunteer.
Carl has agreed to donate his brain. He apparently is the one that saved Frankenstein from the guillotine.
Yes, so that was when their bargain was made.
Carl believes that he will be free of his disabilities.
Frankenstein says that Carl's brain is great. He's quick, he's knowledgeable, and he's learned a lot from working with me. So he's analyzed the brain and has decided that he's not going to take it from. Remember when they tried to take it from the most intelligent man in Germany or something, and they pushed him over the stair rail or whatever? Now they're just going with a normal brain that is knowledgeable.
I think that was in the Peter Bronoff or whatever.
No, sorry.
Frankenstein, but yeah. A woman comes to see Hans. Her name is Margaret. And she says she's going to be working there. I guess Dr. Stein hired her. I don't know.
There's some weird thing about her. Her father is I thought they said a priest, but that couldn't be right. Somehow she's showed up and they can't get rid of her.
Yes. So next thing I wrote is Carl walks in and sees Margaret and he's smitten.
Yes,
and then
I have the same word.
Apparently Margaret is the daughter of the priest who took the place of Frankenstein. That's what I have.
I know, but priests didn't get married and have daughters, so I don't know what that was.
True.
I said, this woman's going to be trouble.
And then we see Carl admiring his new body in the glass case.
Well, now that he's seen this woman, he's like, hey, look at where I get to be.
Hans and Frankenstein arrive. Carl says he is ready. Frankenstein sees that Carl is worried. He tells him to keep staring at the body. Soon it will be him.
Do you like how they operate in tuxedos? They just put a lab coat over their tuxes and get to work.
Yeah, and there's no blood, of course. So then we see them giving Carl ether, right, Karen?
That's what it looks like.
And then Frankenstein takes a scalpel and apparently cuts his head. It's all off screen.
I know, but it kind of weirded me out. If they made that movie now, that would be disgusting, because they would show the skull and you'd hear the suction coming off and pulling the brain out.
It wouldn't be disgusting. It'd be just another horror film. Then we see a brain in a jar. Put a brain in a jar.
Sort of looks like a brain.
Kind of. Doctor puts embalming fluid in Carl to preserve his body.
Okay.
For some reason. I don't know why they want to.
Well, because they say later they're going to display the two next to each other.
Oh, okay.
That's what freaks Carl out. But he puts in like a hypodermic needle worth of embalming fluid into Carl.
Mm-hmm.
Did you notice that?
Yeah.
How much do you think? How much embalming fluid do you think you need for every 50 pounds of a person?
I mean, are we doing liters or gallons or what?
We're doing gallons.
Okay.
Well,
50 pounds per person. So for 50 pounds, I'm going to say at least probably a gallon for every 50 pounds.
It is a gallon. Very well done. You get the bell for that.
Well, I know how much blood is in the human body, so I figure they got to replace all the blood.
To about 3 gallons for an average size adult. So about that. And he put in about 20 milliliters into Carl. Carl ain't going to be embalmed, but whatever.
Next thing I wrote is monkey in a cage, even though we've already seen it. And then we see Frankenstein generating electricity. Creature, I called it, begins to move his hands, and they give it an injection. Frankenstein keeps the creature strapped to a table for a few days as a precaution. Monkey again, I wrote. It was Carl's job to feed the monkey. Now Frankenstein has to do it.
Yeah, and they're talking about the monkey here. I said the monkey wants the fuck out, but that's not. He said he's talking about he put a frog brain in a lizard, and the lizard tried to jump. So he's saying that he kept, even though the frog brain was in a lizard body, it still kept the frog characteristics. And then he mentions here that Otto, the chimpanzee, has the brain of an orangutan. So he started smaller.
Then Frankenstein and Hans taking a body into a room. I wrote, someone watches, question mark.
I didn't know who that was, but I think it's
neither.
the janitor.
Creature revives and screams. Hans tells him he is quite safe. Creature wakes up. Frankenstein calls him Carl, and he has him move his limbs.
This is where I thought he did a really good job, Carl, the new Carl, because he moves his left arm well. And if you remember from what you've just heard about the brain of the frog and the lizard, so we move Carl's brain into this body, and he has trouble moving his right arm.
Frankenstein tells Hans to talk to Carl to keep his mind active as he goes and makes his rounds, I guess, at the ward or wherever. I don't know. Carl wants to know when he will see his new body. Hans tells Carl that he is to be exhibited to other doctors. He's going to be quite famous, Karen.
Yeah.
He's going to be on display for all the world to see.
This is where I said there was a lack of communication here because Carl thought he was going to go off and live a normal life, and Frankenstein had big plans for him. They should have talked about this first. Like I said, Carl needs to sign a waiver before he gets his brain taken out.
Then we see Margaret in the ward, and she is offering patients soap and whatnot from her basket of goods.
Soap, letter writing materials, and tobacco. And what do you think everybody's taking?
Tobacco.
Yeah. Because the one guy says, soap, I never use it.
Frankenstein tells Margaret to stay out of the way or stay out of the ward when he is on duty.
Yeah, they don't have any type of love connection, those two.
No. A helper warns Margaret about the doctor, but then he takes some tobacco.
But he tells her about
what he is.
I think he's the janitor, and he tells her about the guy upstairs. There's a special patient upstairs.
He has a key to where Carl is being kept, and he takes Margaret to see him.
He steals the master key. He's showing off a little bit, but he doesn't seem to be interested in her. He's just showing her the guy in the room.
Yep. Creature seems to know Margaret. Margaret says she just came to see if he was comfortable. I guess the janitor then's talking to Hans, and he asks about the special patient. Margaret talks to the creature. She gives him her address. She puts it in the pocket of his coat.
Well, because he's all restrained. His wrists are restrained. His legs are restrained, and there's a couple restraints across his body.
And he asks Margaret to loosen his straps.
Yes, I guess that's why she's in the Hammer Glamour book. These straps feel tight. Can you loosen them for me?
I guess janitor talks about monkeys and how they don't eat meat. And then Hans rushes out all of a sudden, he's like, ding, ding, ding. Something went off on his head.
Which I didn't know what that was, but.
And then we see Hans talking to Frankenstein. We learn the monkey ate his wife.
What?
The monkey ate its wife. Its
wife. Okay. It's like, wow, I missed something big.
Yes. Monkey ate its wife. Carl knows, so he will not take any unnecessary risks.
That's what Dr. Stein says.
So then Frankenstein has another body, and he asks Hans to put it in the tank with him. Carl escapes its straps, and he walks about the room, and he stares at himself in the mirror.
He's getting dressed to go out the window.
Yes, he puts on his vest and coat and escapes out a window.
He likes what he sees in the mirror.
Yeah, Carl goes back to the laboratory. He finds his body and he burns it, Karen. He burns it.
He waits for the doctors to leave, and then he goes, yeah, and throws the body in the incinerator.
Janitor arrives. Janitor thinks Carl is an intruder. He hits Carl with a chair. They fight and knock over lots of bottles and flasks. And I wrote, Carl seems different. He can take a punch now. And he kills the janitor. Yeah, so that's, I guess, when his brain was damaged right there.
Yes, because they say multiple times, it's all going to be great as long as the brain does not get damaged. So no hard knocks. No, like they keep saying it over and over.
Frankenstein and Hans discover Carl's missing. Hans tells Frankenstein that he told Carl what Frankenstein had planned for him. And of course, Frankenstein says, "You fool!"
You can't tell the truth.
Right. And they find that Carl has burned his body. I find a
Yeah, that must have smelled terrible.
smoking shoe.
Yes, a smoking shoe.
Frankenstein is confident that Carl will come to him for help eventually. Then we see Margaret riding side saddle on a horse.
Fancy.
She goes in a stable and finds Carl. And I wrote here right here, Carl looks like Roddy McDowell.
He does.
He does.
He does.
Looks like Roddy McDowell. Margaret wants to get in touch with Dr. Stein. Carl begs her not to. Margaret goes to see Hans. She tells him that Carl is in her aunt's stable. Hans goes to see Carl. Carl is beginning to experience issues with his leg and arm. His ailments have returned.
Yes, which is interesting because the body is fine, but the brain tells him that he's paralyzed.
Hans and Margaret arrive. Carl's gone. Then we cut to a man and a woman.
They're a
Like
young couple.
Picnic, a midnight. I don't know. It's a nighttime picnic.
And
But
the guy's
Gerda,
watching ants.
yeah, Gerda is upset that the man has not made advances toward her. That's the girl's name, Gerda. I picked that up. Carl, I guess, attacks Gerda. She gone.
Yes.
Like she storms
Well, she
off
leaves.
and-
She gets up
yeah.
and leaves the young man and says, if you're not going to do anything except watch ants, I'm leaving. And she leaves in a huff. And she's separated from him then. And then when
Carl
Carl,
strangles her, she gone.
well, she screams first, and then the young man comes running. But he doesn't really see much because Carl skedaddles out.
So then we see Hans and Frankenstein in a carriage. I wrote, meddling woman. I don't know.
Well,
Yeah.
they're starting to look for him. They get stopped by the police.
Stopped
There's
by
been
the
a
police.
murder.
And they ask the doctor to check the body. They don't know who killed her. The attacker had a strange shape like an animal, they say. And we cut to Carl outside Margaret's house. Carl is once again a hunchback. I guess we're at the music recital. And they debate English composers, Karen. And someone makes a comment about Handel, and someone else says, well, they stole him from Germany. Handel's Messiah. Sure, you're familiar, Karen.
Of course. Greg.
Frankenstein comforts Margaret. She is certain Carl has not returned there.
He's a little rough with her, though.
Just then, Carl breaks through the window, disfigured. He goes after Margaret and her lovely dress, I wrote.
Well, okay, wait. This is actually kind of a weird scene because Frankenstein says, is Carl the same as he was before, or is he different? And I'm like, well, he's 100% different. He's a completely different person. But she answers, he seemed the same. But she met him.
He doesn't know, and she doesn't know.
Well,
at
she
this
met
point.
Carl she met him when he was paralyzed because she went to shake his hand and couldn't. So she doesn't remember that they're using the same, they're just two Carls now. It was weird.
Yeah, she doesn't know, I'm sure.
She wouldn't have any idea who he was.
No.
And Frankenstein shouldn't know that she was in the room. So she would have no way to judge. Frankenstein does not know that Margaret was in the room with the new Carl because they don't know how he got out, and she's how he got out. And she doesn't know that Carl, this new Carl, is the old Carl. It was just weird. Like, this makes no sense, but whatever. He busts through the door or window.
But then Carl approaches Frankenstein and calls him Frankenstein in front of everyone at the recital several times
Yes.
and asks for his help and collapses. Cut to the Ministry of Medicine discussing Frankenstein. Hans tries to get Frankenstein to leave town. Frankenstein refuses. Hans has been summoned to the medical council or Ministry of Medicine, whatever the fuck it is. Frankenstein agrees to go with him.
I'll go with you. Cool as a cucumber.
Yep, Frankenstein meeting with the Ministry of Medicine.
Deny, deny, deny. Lie
No, he
like
agrees.
a rug.
He is Frankenstein. His
But he's
name is
not-
Frankenstein.
but it's
not
not.
the Frankenstein.
Right.
He changed his name so as not to be associated with that Frankenstein, Karen. So then we cut to them exhuming Frankenstein's body.
Well, he did say good day and he left.
Then we cut to them exhuming Frankenstein's body, apparently, and they find it's a priest with his head cut off.
Well, didn't they find the other guy? Why wasn't the other guy buried there? The 10 marks guy. Didn't he fall in that hole?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
I don't know. Frankenstein arrives at his ward. Everyone is suspicious of him now. Patients don't want to be treated by him. They know he is Frankenstein, murderer, mutilator. They throw bottles at him.
Yes.
They hit him over the head and beat him.
They all gang up on him.
Hans arrives. Frankenstein is
A
beaten
little
and bloody.
too late. Yeah.
Hans in the lab treating Frankenstein. He is beaten up pretty good. He tells Hans it's no use. He knows what to do, and Hans says, "Yes, I know."
I only hope I'm up to the task.
Hans pulls the big box of scalpels and knives out, and he begins operating on Frankenstein. Cut to a brain in a jar again. Another brain in another glass jar. And Hans takes the glass jar to the body in the container with the tattooed arm. Police arrived.
They want to see Frankenstein. They have a warrant.
Hans lets them in and tells them Victor is dead. Frankenstein.
Shows them.
It was the patients at the hospital that killed him. Hans could not save him. He is to be buried in unhallowed ground, Karen.
Yes.
Words to read, London. More words to read, Harley Street West. More words to read, Dr. Frank. I guess.
Yep.
And then we see a tattooed arm washing up and Peter Cushing with a mustache.
Yes.
A handlebar mustache.
I guess the assistant had the skills.
He begins seeing patients and he puts a flower in his lapel, as he did throughout the film.
Yeah, and I said
earlier.
there's something with those flowers. I don't know what it is, but there's something there.
But then he puts on a monocle, Karen.
Yes. No one will know him now.
And he begins seeing his patients. Credits, the end. You got nothing from monocle for us, Karen? Nothing about monocles?
Haven't I done monocles before?
Probably have.
I think I have.
I'm sure you have. You wouldn't leave us hanging like that, I'm sure.
No.
All right, Karen, what'd you think of the Frankenstein cocktail?
I like it. It's very fall. I think it's a good Halloween drink.
Yeah, mine evaporated a long time ago. I think it's that green food coloring that makes it evaporate quicker.
Is that what it is?
I'm sure.
I think it's the tasty apple pucker with the Sprite that makes
Sprite.
it evaporate
I
quicker.
use Sprite Zero, Karen. Yeah, it's good. Tastes a lot like Sprite. A lot like apple and Sprite.
Mm-hmm.
All right, anything we learned today, Karen?
We learned about Terrence Fisher, executioner masks, tattoo shops, and how much embalming fluid you need for a average size body.
Just
for your own reference.
Yeah. Hypothetically.
That's another ding on my search history.
Anyone you need to thank this week, Karen?
We need to thank our listener. There are so many podcasts out there. We really appreciate when you spend time with us. What about you, Greg? Who do you need to thank?
Karen, I'm going to specifically thank our friends and listeners in Michigan and Oregon.
Wow. It's almost opposite sides of the coast.
I know, right? And the band Verse 13 for providing all the music in the Scary Spirits podcast.
Music definitely makes the podcast better.
Anything else, Karen?
Please drink responsibly.
Yes.
Thanks so much for listening. Want to keep in touch? Check out our website, scaryspirits.com. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Scary Spirits Podcast. Find us on YouTube at Scary Spirits Podcast. If you have questions or comments, you can email us at info@scaryspirits.com. To help us grow the podcast, you can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. We really do appreciate your support. And as always, please drink responsibly.